Something else that I wanted to show you, by the way, I thought we were not supposed to be doing live streams while we were speaking, but Turning Point. Something else that I wanted to show you, by the way, I thought we were not supposed to be doing live streams while we were speaking, but Turning Point.
I wanted to speak about this situation because my conclusion of this entire thing is that Erika Kirk definitely set her up. This was a pure distraction. They locked her in a 4.5-hour meeting to give Turning Point USA an opportunity to live stream that they were supposed to have canceled. So in order to avoid Candace Owens being able to get on that live stream and ask some questions directly, Erika out of nowhere was just like, oh, let's have a meeting, but we have to have it private. I'm trying to figure out how in the world did Candace not get a notice from her team or notification from her team stating that Turning Point USA was going live? And why didn't she end that meeting almost immediately? Because my thing is this: if I was in Candace's position and I was very serious about all of this, I'm not here to play games with you. I know that you're new to this whole life and everything like that, being the CEO, kind of running everything. But I have been doing this alongside, just like your husband, the entire time he's been doing it. Like, we literally got into the game with each other. So the fact that this woman just played in her face and made her look like a dummy, because they legitimately went on there and was talking about some very damning information that I'm sure should have been left for the court hearing. But God forbid these guys do anything right. And you can't tell me that Erika had no awareness that this was happening, because based off of all of them, especially from Andrew and Blake, she greenlights everything. So how do you explain this, Erika? How do you explain this? But let's get into what exactly Candace is going to bring up.
I guess has their daily show, but that I didn't feel like that was communicated to me. It felt like a ceasefire and then it got violated. But they had an interesting conversation on their show yesterday, on the Charlie Kirk show, about this trial, the upcoming trial, about Tyler Robinson. And here is what they had to say. Take a listen.
So this is straight from the charging document. It says Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. She stated that Robinson began to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning genders. This resulted in several discussions with family members, but especially between Robinson and his father, who have very different political views. In one conversation before the shooting, Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event at UVU, which Robinson said was a, quote, stupid venue for the event. Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate. And when you see how easy that rooftop access is, you start to kind of put one and one together, and you realize that Robinson had a plan that he was going to ultimately take advantage of. And he obviously knew how easy it was to get up to that rooftop, which is terrifying.
It really is. And look, one of the other things that's being pushed around for a long time was that, TPUSA, both the local chapter and you guys, didn't advertise this event till a couple days prior to. Now, the insinuation there is that doesn't give Tyler enough time to plan for this. And what we found out with a little bit of, 20, not even 5 minutes of Googling and looking.
Yeah.
Look, you guys had already put out on your website as early as August 27th. So we have at least almost a full 2 weeks prior to this, that not only the time of the event, but the location, the exact location of the UVU courtyard. So when you have over 10 days of planning, and it sounds like that Tyler already was familiar with the campus to begin with, like a lot of the mystery of this starts to go out the window, and it starts to really conform with what is exactly being proposed by the state of Utah and the FBI in the charging documents.
Yeah, and
there is lots to unpack here. Let's start off with Andrew. Why are you reading that? And then also, why are you giving your perspective on how clearly this is blatant evidence that he was prepared and he knew what he was doing, and it must have been him because of what his mom said. Did anyone ever hear that come out of his mom's mouth? Like, I'm confused. Did his mother ever actually testify and confirm, and that it was legitimately confirmed that she testified and these were words that came out of her mouth? And didn't Erika Kirk late last week state that this entire investigation that Candace is doing, the reason why she hasn't spoken up and had any meetings with Candace is because she doesn't want to taint the jury pool? But then Turning Point USA goes live while you're in a meeting with Candace, which that was never supposed to happen, and they're doing stuff like this. How is that not contributing to tainting the jury pool? Please explain that. And this is exactly why I'm saying, and why I truly believe that they tried to checkmate Candace by locking her into one situation to avoid Turning Point USA having to deal with her directly. Now all of a sudden Erika wants to speak. She wants it to be private. And then this happens. And they're saying all this wild stuff. Uninterrupted, by the way. And then this guy pointing out the fact that, oh, clearly people don't know what they're talking about because they're making claims that, yeah, the event wasn't publicized until a couple days before the actual event. But on you guys' website, it was clearly publicized way before that. Hey, if you have ever been in website development, you do realize that you can update websites, right? To say whatever you want them to say. Like, it's very easy to do that, especially if you know how to manipulate the code. Whoever said that going into a website's interface could not be manipulated? You can change dates. You can put stuff on your website and make it whatever date you want to make it and make it look like it was already there the entire time. So it's just like, what is this guy even talking about? And it's like, oh, I find it quite ironic how now these imbeciles know how to live stream people into their live stream. Oh, what do you know? Because they were definitely making it seem like it was so impossible. Like they were just making it seem like it was an absurd idea to stream Candace into the live stream so that they can have a conversation. And within this, they have someone else there. And they think that they're funny by having this guy there, and he has all those guns behind him. Like, what are you guys, like, just because he has guns behind him doesn't make him an expert in anything that he's saying. So this guy has guns behind him, and then you're speaking of Tyler Robinson being the one to have committed the murder, and somehow, some way, is that supposed to, like, put a message in our psyche that, oh, they must be telling the truth? These guys are full of it.
We can attest, Andrew Cipher, who's our head of field, Charlie sometimes throw the events out, 7-10 days in advance. If something opened up in his schedule, he would be able to do these outdoor events, a pretty quick turn.
Okay, so listen to what he said. I'm about to go back. And this is how liars end up like covering up a lie just in case they get called out on it. So this guy says
with what is exactly being proposed by the state of Utah and the FBI in the charging documents.
Yeah, and we can attest, Andrew Cipher, who's our head of field, Charlie sometimes throw the events out, 7-10 days in advance. If something opened up in his schedule, he would be able to do these outdoor events, a pretty quick turn. And so those whole that whole theory kind of goes out the window.
So that right there lets you know that, just in case someone has evidence that we actually did post it about a week to a couple days in advance, just in case someone does have evidence that we actually did that and that that's true, let me go ahead and put a little nugget out there to say that, yeah, just in case, like, if any space ever popped up in Charlie's schedule, we could like quickly spin up an event. Like, are you serious? I'm sorry. I'm really good at being able to sniff between people's lies. So that to me just was a cover up move, because if you guys had announced it a month, 2 months, 2 weeks, 3 weeks prior and not 5 days prior, then why did you need to say that? Because you did in fact probably post it a couple days before the actual event.
So, unless I am mistaken, and I am not perfect, but I do feel like we worked really hard to see when this location was first revealed. The first time that we found that the courtyard was mentioned, because Charlie's speaking at events, your assumption would be they're inside, right? You have no idea where it is. So it's not like you can see whether you have a shot to the courtyard unless you know Charlie's speaking in the courtyard. The earliest that we found that was on September 2nd. The local media mentioned on KMYU that Charlie was speaking at UVU in the courtyard. Okay. That's the first time that we found this. If I am wrong, please tag me, because what he's referring to on August 27th that happened, which we have on our timeline as well, and this is why I love a timeline, is that TPUSA, UVU, and the local BYU chapter shared a graphic announcing that Charlie was coming to UVU, but there were absolutely no location details mentioned. So that actually does shred the idea that he could have practically gone and scaled rooftops before September 2nd. That's the first public mention, is September 2nd. So they announced the event on August 27th, as he says, no location details. And then on September 2nd, there are location details provided by local media for the first time. Prove me wrong, okay? Prove me wrong if that is, if I'm inaccurate, because I do think that we were thorough on that. I will update my timeline. If not, it does then beg the question, surely they must have footage after September 2nd of him testing the rooftop in some capacity to then realize, oh, it's going to be an outdoor event. This is an opportunity for me to go after him. We are waiting for that. And like I said, I was told that they don't have anything that the public doesn't have. So it's not obvious to me. I don't think it's obvious to the public. Now, I do want to get to Viva Frey, who had this to say regarding drones. Regarding the text messages from Tyler Robinson.
A lot has been made about these text exchange that went back and forth between Robinson and his lover, his trans furry gay lover, whatever. And people say it doesn't sound right. Well, there is a video that I want everybody to check out by Turkey Tom. I believe you've watched it now, Viva, where, and this has been authenticated as somebody who was in the Discord chats with them and apparently spent time with them at this apartment. And he said 100% this is how they talked, which is a striking finding. We're going to go into that more probably tomorrow or the next day, depending on how today goes. But I mean, I get the skepticism on this. At first, it struck me too, but apparently this is how they talk, Viva.
That was not the most implausible thing to believe. Okay, so you have a text message. It does read, regardless of whether or not this is how they talk, people saying they were manufactured by or drafted by AI. To the extent that they're confirmed text messages, you can, come to whatever conclusions you want after that. But whether or not this is how they talk regularly, to the extent that those were authentic text messages, they show what they show, which is whether or not his lover was aware of what was going on. You're etching bullets, and it's maybe not for target practice of a sporting nature. But like when I say I don't believe the official narrative, and you have to go back to a number of things here. I put my sort of best theory as to what went down. I want to know who was on the Discord chat in advance, what they were discussing, and whether or not there might have been some other I say foreign, not foreign government, but outer influence there. Tyler Robinson is getting radicalized right about the same time as Thomas Crooks, right about the same time as the other guy, Ryan Ruth. He's being radicalized at a politically relevant period of time, right around the same time, oddly enough, as the alleged suspect in the January 6th pipe bomber. A time frame where political violence is potentially very useful in for the upcoming election. So the time frame of the radicalization is very interesting. To see whether or not he was on anybody's radar beforehand, we don't yet know that, and why there would not be confirmation on that can lead to suspicion. You remember the old man, George Zinn, arrested for claiming to be the shooter the day of, and then gets busted for CP on his phone. Like, in my mind, if I'm making a plausible theory here, George Zinn was probably on some Discord chat with a bunch of young perverts, and he's an old pervert, and he's getting off doing whatever they do on those chats. He knows what's going down. He shows up there and thinks he's going to be some useful decoy or distraction for Tyler Robinson because they know what's going down. That's my theory. But, it is the absence of total disclosure, the total lack of faith that anybody has, not just in the FBI per se, but in any state law enforcement. Nobody has any faith in our institutions anymore. And it leads people to go from, healthy skepticism to just not believing it to concocting the most outlandish conspiracy theories imaginable. But then those text messages, you can understand how they will cause people to come to those types of conclusions. And, allegedly the rumors are Kash Patel, getting mad at Tulsi Gabbard and Joe Kent for trying to look into a potential terrorist angle to this also does nothing to foment faith in the system.
Exactly. Also, has anyone heard anything regarding them pulling this alleged boyfriend into questioning? Because if they still haven't questioned the alleged boyfriend who they claim Tyler Robinson is dating, who is his roommate, I would only assume that he was aware of all of this beforehand. I think based off of the text messages, it's been a while since I've seen the text messages, so I can't remember verbatim how it started. I don't know if, I can't remember if the alleged boyfriend was stating like, oh, you were serious, like you actually did it. So whatever it was, I'm sure Tyler would have said something to him hinting around, but I don't recall anyone ever saying that the alleged boyfriend was being brought in for questioning. And if he still hasn't been brought in for questioning, then what the hell are we even talking about? Oh, the text messages were probably fake. Also, do they have copies of the Discord chats? Because based off of other things that came out around that time, when they found out that he was heavily on Discord, it was said that he was saying a bunch of stuff prior to September 10th. So I don't really know how to surmise that. But yeah, this is just all a complete and utter mess. And like I said, I feel as though Erika purposefully did that meeting and trapped Candace Owens into a room for 4.5 hours to give her team an opportunity to put out evidence, put out information, to make themselves look innocent, and to talk about the case and to talk about whatever evidence that they have that has led to this point, and to try to absolve themselves without the interruption and the questioning of Candace. That is so petty and so conniving. And I know that in this particular live, Candace didn't really talk about that at all, but hopefully over the next couple days, she opens her eyes to the fact that she was just checkmated. I really hope that she opens her eyes to the fact that, yeah, Erika is not to be trusted, because I know for a fact that she was fully aware that they were going to do that live. And she said in front of the entire world on Twitter that there would be no live streams, there will be no tweeting, there will be no social media activity until this meeting with her and Candace adjourns, for her team to then go and do the complete opposite. But the thing that pisses me off the most is the fact that Candace's team did not send her a notification letting her know, hey, they're going live and you need to go live right now. I would have blew that meeting completely up, because at the end of the day, what are your real intentions here? Why are you sitting there pretending like you really want to be here to give me answers for all these questions that I have, when you and your team are clearly conspiring and doing something else behind my back that you said you weren't going to do? You literally told the public that you weren't going to do that, and you did it anyway. So yeah, I don't really know what is wrong, what is wrong with these people. And it seems like Erika is like on the same wavelength as Andrew and Blake, and they're all full of lies. And this right here was the definite point of being able to see that. So with that being said, I will see if I'm going to continue being interested in following this situation. I may not be following it as closely as I have for the last 2 months. But I'm definitely going to watch the rest of her episodes this week to see, like, okay, what is her energy? How is she moving forward with the investigation? Is she going to let these people shake her? But definitely watching it for the second time, there were some things that I definitely missed in the live stream. that I was able to see and hear clearer the second go round doing this review. Yeah, so what do you guys think? I mean, like I said, I don't trust Turning Point USA. At this point, I don't trust Erika Kirk because she blatantly lied in front of all of us. And she allows for her guys to do whatever the hell they want to do. And they all say that they don't do nothing unless she greenlights it. So she clearly greenlit them going live while her and Candace was in this meeting. And that is some treacherous crap to do. So what are you guys' thoughts? Leave them in the comment section below. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. So please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.
I'll be back.